Good evening. Here I've got a special video to you about Boudica. This is a hero you've been waiting 3 whole months for, and has been promised to be the savior of the pikemen, an army that has traditionally been struggling quite a lot. So will this one bring her out of, or bring them out of, the darkness and into relevancy, into the meta? Well, I'm the professor, and I've got the answers for you. Because you see, how many people are telling you just go do this, go do this, go do that with Boudica, and that's it? Today, I've got a special treat for you. I've got information. Lots and lots and lots of information. All the details, everything there, commander skills, special skills, calculations, even the rings at the end. You want the answers? Here it is. This is going to be Boudica, the warrior pikeman. Now, she's going to become available 75 days after the server launches. So that's about 2.5 months. So you can expect her in the first wheel, along with Believer is the other option. So we're going to go and talk about Boudica today. Now, with this hero, the thing that is going to be described is legendary pikeman warrior. She is going to replace Frederick. So whatever army that you've got going on, Frederick ends up leaving, and Boudica goes in between. So you're going to have Richard in the first, Boudica in the second, and Leonidas if you've paid for him and you've actually got that thing, or Joan of Arc if you're free to play. And Joan of Arc instead of Frederick, I can explain that one a little bit. But let's go grab this thing here. You can always pause, and here are the stats that she's got. This is how much might she's going to have immediately once you get her up to just straight up to level 120. 1 star is how much might you can expect to get her at 1 star, 3 star, 5 star. Her other stats, those are cool. These are the modifiers that she's got. So how much is it going to be? A 1.4 modifier for 5. Most people don't care about this, but some do. So I've got it included there. These are just part of the calculations. You can ignore that. Let's go off and start to explore. What does Boudica do? So we'll go over to her. And go over here. First off is her commander skill. This is called Sawtooth Blade, or Pike. It has a 200 rage cost. Okay. It'll deal might damage up to 3 enemy targets. Okay. And it'll do a damage rate of 355. So 355 times 3 is 1,065 is how much damage it can do total. It'll also recover you by 250. So that's it. It just does damage to 3 targets and a recovery on top. Oh, by the way, later on down the thing, I go and I do a comparison. So here is the commander skills, Leonidas, and how much they all do and stuff, and explain why you do not want to have Boudica as your commander. So I'll get into that in a little bit, but first off, go for her signature skill. Now her signature skill, this one here is a passive skill, so it's a counterattack type, same as all the other ones, with a 20% accuracy. This goes up to 25 with her 3rd star. Okay, it'll go and it'll deal damage of 150 or 175 at 1 star. Okay, it'll also increase the might of you here with the highest might by 15%. Now, this is almost always going to be Richard, and I'll show you and explain that why when we get there. But it deals 175 damage, 25% activation chance, and just passively increases Richard's might by 15. At 5 star, that goes up to 45. Her customizable skills are all normal ones. You've got counterattack, vigilance, tenacity, King's Blade, forceful retaliation, and whirlwind sweep. So those are what they have. So what kind of build do you want to go with these armies? Well, there's 2 of them, and they're basically the same thing, just free to play and whatnot. First one's going to be Richard as your commander, followed by Boudica as your secondary, and then third is either going to be Leonidas or Joan of Arc. When it goes to Richard, you want to get him here. Getting 5 stars is really, really important on him. So if I go and pull this thing So getting 5 stars on Richard is really, really important, because the 5th star will increase your commander damage by a massive amount. And the fun thing is, his commander hits 3 targets. So it's going to triple that 220 to like an extra 660. It's a massive increase. So extremely valuable. However, Boudica, her 5 star, or first 3 star is very good. Her 3rd star is very, very good. It's her 5th star that actually is not much at all. All it does is will increase Richard's might by an extra 30, which is nice, but that's a massive investment for only 30 points of might. So it's going to be where I go and put the minimum as 3 star, which is very, very high. But essential one, the stars, number 5 is underwhelming. Don't worry too much about getting her up to 5 star. If you've got the other 2 up to 5 star already, then yeah, sure, go ahead and get her up there, because it's going to be an additional thing on top. Most people shouldn't bother with it, though. Now, Richard, for his skills, you're going to want to go, which one was it? Forceful Retaliation, Fearless Retribution. So you want to go for these 2 damage ones here. Initially, I was describing going for Whirlwind Sweep, but after doing testing on the test server, these 2 are the better ones to go for. You want to just have the extra raw damage of both of them going off at once. The base damage is worth more than the Whirlwind Sweep's increased damage. So Forceful Retaliation, Fearless Retribution, this is going to be basically true through all of them. There's actually only very slight differences. So for the next one, for Boudica, you're going to go for Forceful Retaliation, same thing as the one up here, and King's Blade. So these are the 2 you're going to go for. This is going to increase your entire army's damage, which will be nice. And then Forceful Retaliation is the base one. Both of these ones have the 2 base damages, is the big piece here in consideration. And final one here is going to be Leonidas. Oh, actually, sorry, I had to explain Joan of Arc. So this one here, it's going to be Fearless Retribution, King's Blade. If you notice, Forceful, Fearless, Forceful, Kings, Fearless, Kings. Only 3 skills are used out through all 3 of your heroes in one combination or other. So that makes it easy to remember. It also makes it so that when your skill scrolls are invested, invest them evenly between all 6 skills on all 3 of your heroes. Just make them all go up at roughly the same pace. And that's what the good thing there is. That's going to be what your army looks like. So the thing is, Joan of Arc and Richard. When I went to the test server, I found out that Richard's the one that we've been all putting focus on and stuff, but for a free-to-play player to have Richard, Frederick, and Joan of Arc, it is of more value to have Richard, Joan of Arc, and Boudica than it is to have Richard, Boudica, and Frederick. Of the 2, straight-up damage is worth more than the defensive bonus for her. So as a free-to-play player, you're actually going to drop Richard still and go for Joan of Arc. Unless your Richard is, unless your Frederick is really massively increased and your Joan of Arc is really weak, then use the one that you've got. Now, for the skills here, you're going to go, again, Fearless Retribution and King's Blade. This is one that's going to support your entire team. You've got 3 heroes, so King of Blade will actually have quite a lot. And then Fearless Retribution, an increased base damage. I'm going to jump down to rings. Now, the first ring that I want to talk to you about is going to be very bottom of the purple ones. It's called Ring of Boar. And this one here is a special one. Because it's only a purple ring and not a signature red ring, the cost is astronomically low. So you can actually go and get the Ring of Boar, which will give all 3 of your armies increased damage when they fall below 60%. This is a smaller amount of damage and an extra condition compared to the other one, but at a fraction of the cost. So this one here, Ring of Boar, is S+. The next one here is going to be Ring of Deer. You have 3 heroes that all do damage. So no matter which one this one lands on, you will get a damage bonus to one of your heroes, and that's very good. Ring of Deer is S+ on him. Then finally, this is the expensive one, Messenger of Destruction. Okay, this will reduce all your normal attacks. Oh well, who cares? But increases the damage of their passive skills by a larger point, which is awesome all the time. It's just expensive. Those 3 rings are the ones I would suggest, but other options that you have that are A+ or whatnot is Effluent Sun, Ring of Bear, Ring of Lion, Ring of Tulip, or Ring of Daisy. These last 2 are blue ones that are just high quality ones for extra damage. So you can always just grab them, stick them on while you build up for something else. So that's what you can do for your rings. And now we're on to the fun part. This is going to be all the data and stuff. So I will now go and show you some of the things here. So first off, let's go and talk about Boudica. Okay, so this second part here is one that is a little cryptic and a little hard to understand. So increases the might of your hero with the highest might by a point. This is going to be 15% or 15 points in battle. This is going to be a passive. It's just going to always be active. So whoever the highest is always going to have that. Problem is, Richard at 1 star has 408, whereas Boudica has 384. That's quite a large difference between the two. Okay, 3 stars is 461, 436. So if you have a 3-star Boudica and for some reason only a 1-star Richard, then it would target Boudica. But if they're even, yeah, it's going to target Richard instead. If your Richard is level 5-star, 533 might, Boudica will never actually get high enough for it to target herself only. But this is fine. Richard can do the extra thing because of his commander, the skill damage and stuff like that. And I'll show you here. I'll also show you what makes Boudica special in this regard. Now, it's only a 15% might. Okay, that said, 15% bonus might isn't a major deal. So don't sweat it. That's just what it is. This is why, though, it'll always affect Richard. Now, let's actually compare some of these skills. This will be a little hard with me bouncing between the two. But if I go and do Boudica, her skill will do 355 to 1 target. And it'll give her a 250 recovery. So doing against 3 targets is great, but they all hit 3 targets. So 350 is the lowest damage of all the 3 ones, 390 and 360. And the secondary effect is also just a recovery effect of 250, not something else. If I were to go to Leonidas, okay, deals damage to 300 damage. Okay, that's the same. Now, the amount of damage it does is 390, so it's going to be more damage than Boudica to 3 targets. But it also increases your damage every time you lose this thing up to double that. So it goes up from 350 at Boudica to 780 at half strength. Leonidas is just that much more. Now, do you want 250 health or do you want an extra 390 damage? Right, so that's the trade-off here and why Leonidas is better. Richard, though, okay, he's got this little weird things, but what it'll basically boil down to is deal damage to 3 targets, so they all do that. His damage is going to be 360, okay? So it's less than Leonidas. This is why you go Leonidas first. It'll be 720 at 10 stacks, so that's less than Leonidas. However, once you get him up to this 5 stars, like I said, really, really important, that goes up by 220. So 360 now becomes 570, and that is the highest of any of the numbers by far. And you're looking at like 355 unboosted damage from Boudica, all the way up to 1,000 damage for Richard when he's at 5 stars and 8 stacks. It's just uncomparable damage. It is so much more advantageous to have this thing at Commander, at Richard. So that's the Commander skills and whatnot. That. Now let's go over to the signature skills. These are compared at 3 stars. So most of them have the same thing here where you increase your damage and then you increase your accuracy. Leonidas is a little bit different, but we'll get to him in a second. Boudica at 3 stars is increase in damage and increase in accuracy. So that makes for a point of that thing. Now, Boudica, 25% accuracy, okay, and damage of 175. Leonidas is 24% accuracy, so close. Damage of 125, a fair bit less. Below 50, it goes up to 137.5 because of the bonus it gets for Leonidas' special thing. Okay, when your troops units fall below 50%, increase your damage dealt by 5% with a might bonus. And I'm not including the tribe damage, by the way. Ignore that. But so below 50, or sorry, below 50%, it gives you this one. Now at 5-star, this goes up, and below it gives you 162. So these are the damage. Basically, at 3 stars, you're looking at 175, and here you're looking at 137 at best, or 162 if you have Leonidas at 5-star. Okay, Richard is a little different because you have to be attacked by 2 people, so half it in 1v1, but ignore that. He just straight does a 350 damage on his. So unlike the other ones where it's a counterattack, Richard just stacks up these marks and does one big hit. This is now going to be the important number. Damage per cycle. This is 131, so it means that on average, you're going to deal 131.25 damage every 3 seconds. Leonidas is going to deal 90, 99, or 117. So 131 versus 117. Like, that's the difference in damage here. Richard will do 105. So Leonidas will do more damage to a 1-star Richard, but at 3 stars, he does more because of Richard's. This is actually pretty powerful. Richard's 3rd rank is a pretty useful one. It's worth a pretty large damage increase. However, I want to show you that at its best, Boudica is 131.25. At its best, Leonidas is 117. And at its best, Richard is going to be 131. So these two here are going to be doing roughly the same amount of damage, but better than Leonidas. Boudica is going to come in and do essentially exactly the same thing Leonidas does, but better. So it's like having 2 Leonidases, but one of them does more damage. This gives you the option of running all 3 doing damage, and that's good. Okay? But Leonidas does the smallest. Now, of the 3, I've also went and calculated these. I'm not going to show you there. You could take a quick second just to look through them if you want. Fearless Retribution here. Like, I'll just put this up here so you can look at it for a while and, if you want to read it on your own. But if not, then I'm going to go over here and Fearless Retribution, 5-star does 72. Okay? Forceful Retaliation at 0 star is 50, but at 5-star is 78. King's Blade is just a straight 66. So it is less than these two here for King's Blade for your average damage, but it also has the other additional effect. Now, Counterattack is 54 and Vigilance is 60, so they're less than those ones over here. That's no surprise. This one here is going to be an important one because Richard, these are just signature and customizable skills, no commander skill. Adding them together of his different ones is a total of 281. Boudica is 275, so it's really close there. Leonidas, though, is 255, so he's going to be the least amount of damage of the 3, but all of these or any of these is better than Frederick. So this is what you're expecting. Richard is going to do the highest damage because he also has a commander on top of this. Boudica should be doing next, and Leonidas would be the least. I just want to list a bit of the playstyle. You are not having Richard, which was a hindrance as far as fighting things like Mulan, because you were dealing damage too slow. Mulan was just hitting you too hard, and you were hitting too slowly and trying to absorb damage. Your ability to absorb damage was lower than her ability to dish it out. When you go and switch to this hero here, you're going to be able to actually just output a whole lot more damage because you basically just took an entire second Leonidas and stuck it on your army. And that's going to make you able to... You probably won't be able to beat Mulans, but you'll match up to him a whole lot better than you did before. It's also going to counter Lu Bu. He's going to come out soon. He's going to become very meta. He's going to become very, very common. And all of a sudden, the amount of targets that you have to fight is going to be a lot more common and in your favor than they were with all of these Mulans and Miyamotos that you couldn't beat, and almost no pike or no cavalry at all. So this is going to become a lot more favorable for pikemen, just because the targets that you counter you are a little bit easier to deal with, and the targets that you counter are going to become a whole lot more common, a whole lot more normal. So this is great news for you. You're going to be able to do all that. Yeah. If I were going pikeman, oh yeah, I'd get Boudica. 3 stars is fine. You can take them up to 4 stars if you want, but 3 stars is really, really going to be the thing that shines for her. Yeah. She's a crazy warrior woman, and she'll do you well. With that, though, you can understand now why she is so valuable, because she's essentially just a better Leonidas. And Boudica, or sorry, not Boudica, Frederick is just too low damage. The loss of a 30% of your army damage for tankiness is now going to get switched over to damage, and you're going to notice a massive spike. And for the final bit of the video, I just want you guys to know that I am offering coaching services. If you want to purchase one of these things, you will get 1 hour of uninterrupted attention from me, and I'll go down and sit with you and go through your entire account. I can help you with all these new heroes that are come, as evidenced by all the research and stuff I've done. So I can help you set up. I can help you deal with runes or with equipment, or with skills or rings. I can make it so that you get an edge over everyone else around you who doesn't do that. If this interests you, then come drop me a message on Discord, and if not, just come on over and say hi. The link will be in the description. Thank you as always, and have a good night.